Possession. This 2012 film is loosely based on the true story of the Dybbuk box, a Jewish trinket box dating back to the 1940s and believed to have been cursed, imprisoning within it a demon spirit. The spirit was believed to have been unleashed when the box was reopened, wreaking havoc on the lives of a string of people unlucky enough to have the box pass through their ownership. After the box was originally obtained from the estate of a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor, it was bought, sold, and gifted over a number of years to several owners, bringing ill health, plagues of insects, nightmares, and poltergeist activity before museum curator Jason Haxton decided to put a stop to the box's wrath. Working with scientists, Kabbalists, Wiccans, and paranormal experts to neutralize the box's energy, putting it into a rest state. It was sealed within an acacia wood box, lined in 24-karat gold. As long as the Dybbuk box remains contained with no one requesting anything more from it, he says, it will stay in a neutral state. The Silence of the Lambs. Although the plot of the film is unrelated to real events, the serial killer Buffalo Bill in the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs is based on rapist, murderer, and general nutcase Gary Heidnik. A former army medic and schizophrenic, Heidnik kept a total of 6 women in his basement over a 4-month period in 1986, raping them daily in order to start a harem of childbearing women, with one of them observing that he was lonely. His victims were starved, beaten, and tortured, with 2 of the women dying during their incarceration. One woman managed to escape the dire situation by gaining her kidnapper's trust, alerting police, who at first did not believe her. Upon investigation, they found 3 women chained in the cellar, 2 of them chained to pipes, and one lying in a shallow pit dug into the concrete floor, covered by plywood. In 1988, Heidnik was found guilty of 2 counts of murder. In 1999, he was put to death by lethal injection at the State Correctional Institution in Pennsylvania. Wolf Creek. Claimed to be based on true events, this ghastly and disturbing film seems to be inspired in fact by 2 cases of true crime in Australia. The first, and probably most prominent influence, is serial killer Ivan Milat, who tortured and killed 7 backpackers in the Belanglo State Forest near Sydney. Milat was arrested and convicted of the murders in 1996 and sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences for the backpacker deaths, as well as 6 years for the robbery and attempted abduction of British tourist Paul Onions, who escaped from Milat in 1990 and proved a key witness for the prosecution. However, Milat has, in the years since, frustrated police by withholding information on the whereabouts of any further victims, as well as the head of Anya Habshid, which was never recovered. The second story is the abduction of British tourist Peter Falconio and the assault of his girlfriend Joanne Lees in July 2001 by Bradley John Murdoch in the remote Northern Territory desert. Joanne Lees escaped into the desert after the hired van in which she and her partner were travelling was flagged down by another motorist, who proceeded to shoot Peter Falconio and bundled her into his ute. Lees claimed to have escaped from the ute and ran into the desert with her hands tied behind her back, hiding amongst desert brush as she manipulated her restrained wrists from behind her back to the front of her body. After 5 hours of hiding, she managed to flag down a truck driver who untied her and drove her to safety. She was met with disbelief and pointed fingers, with many people finding the highly publicized story hard to swallow. She was even asked to prove in court that she could indeed bring her restrained hands from behind her body to the front. Lees did so in front of a jury, and after a lengthy court battle was released of all charges. Suspect Bradley John Murdoch was arrested and charged with murder in 2005, sentenced to life imprisonment with a non-parole period of 28 years. Despite a sizable police investigation, during which the help of local Aboriginal people was enlisted to help locate any carcasses in the area where the kidnapping took place, the body of Peter Falconio was never recovered. The Conjuring. In 1974, famous paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were brought in to solve the supernatural problems plaguing the Perron family in Rhode Island. Lorraine Warren claims the film stays true to many of the true-life facts of the case, and that it was one of her more challenging investigations. Occurrences included beds levitating, foul smells, cold spots, and even a case of possession. It is now known that the house has experienced a tragic history, including murder, suicide, and tragic accidents occurring on the premises. However, local law did not dictate that these details needed to be disclosed to tenants, and the Perron family moved in with no knowledge of these incidents. The film makes significant note of the notorious Annabelle doll, which, although she had nothing to do with this particular case, added an extra facet of intrigue to the story, and spawned enough interest from fans to encourage filmmaker James Wan to dedicate an entire film to her the following year. The doll now resides in the Warren Occult Museum in Connecticut, locked in a glass box marked, "Warning, positively do not open."